This is a ported subwoofer, and you can see the video of how I built this in the card appearing top right, or find the link in the description below. Now this is the same subwoofer but with passive radiators. What is the difference? Well, I'll explain that a little bit later. Both produce similar bass but with a few differences and pros and cons for each. So stay tuned and I will explain, show you how to build this subwoofer and also do a comparison at the end. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. In my previous build video, I built this small ported subwoofer using a Tang Band 6.5-inch subwoofer driver. It gives us a relatively small enclosure, but we have some fairly large ports on the inside to allow this sub to play as low as it can go optimally. If we do not design the ports right and they are too short or thin, we can get what is called port chuffing. This is the noise generated by the air that is forced in and out of the port as the driver moves backwards and forwards, and this is not ideal. We can eliminate some of this by just using a sealed enclosure, right? Well, no, because we will now limit the frequency response of the subwoofer and it will not play as low. Another option is to use passive radiators, and this is what I will be doing in this video, building the same subwoofer but with passive radiators. A passive radiator is essentially just a speaker driver but without the electrical motor structure or magnet on the back. It's just the frame, cone and the spider. When using these with a speaker driver, we create the same effect as what a port will do, resonating at a specific frequency and supporting the subwoofer driver to produce lower bass. The benefit is that we do not get port chuffing or that noise of the air moving through the port I mentioned before. But let me show you how I built this subwoofer and then do the actual comparison a little bit later. I'm starting by gluing up two pieces of 12mm or 1/2 inch MDF to thicken up the baffle where I will mount the woofer. After the glue is dry, I can mark the position and cut the hole for the driver with my router and circle cutting jig. I am using double-sided tape to secure the baffle in place whilst routing.
We are of the same kind. Endangered species hard to find. I'll give you some lone time. I need to go catch a high tide.
I opted to veneer this enclosure, and in hindsight I should have veneered the baffle before cutting the hole for the driver, but I managed to get a good finish in the end.
Driving by the shore, listening to a broken radio. Skyline neon lights are waking up.
The entire enclosure is made of 12mm or 1/2 inch MDF, and I also included a few braces on the inside to strengthen the panels and avoid panel resonances. I used a basic jig to help me assemble the panels and keep everything square.
It's all around but leaves no trace. This is where I wanna be. I'm skipping stones into the sea. I'll give you some lone time.
All the panels just use simple butt joints with wood glue and then secured with brad nails.
'Cause I don't feel free, so I'm letting you know where I want to be. Driving by the shore, listening to a broken radio. Skyline neon lights are waking up the rangers of the night. The
The baffle is glued on and secured with a few weights until the glue is dry. Before applying the rest of the veneer, I sand the enclosure down with 100 grit sandpaper on my orbital sander. I start the veneer process by applying a layer of glue to one side and spreading it evenly with a brush. The veneer is then applied and the enclosure is sandwiched between two pieces of offcut wood and clamped until the glue is dry. Once the clamps and offcut pieces are removed, I use a trim router with a flush trim bit to trim the excess veneer. This entire process is then repeated for all the other sides of the enclosure. Since we will never see the bottom of the enclosure, I'm just finishing it with a few coats of matte black spray paint. Here I am marking the center point of the holes for the passive radiators that will go in the two sides of the enclosure. I then use my router with a circle cutting jig and a straight cut router bit to cut the holes. The enclosure is then sanded with 320 grit sandpaper for a smooth surface and then given 3 coats of water-based polyurethane, lightly sanding with 320 grit sandpaper in between coats. I can finally go on to mounting the drivers. First, the positions of the mounting screws are marked and pre-drilled for both the subwoofer and the 2 passive radiators. I am also marking and pre-drilling for the terminal cup on the back. I'm using the terminal cup here since this subwoofer will also become part of another exciting build I'm working on. However, in the build plans I will specify a suitable plate amplifier and show you how to connect and mount it. Before mounting the passive radiators in place, we must add a weight to the back. This weight is determined by the software we use to tune the enclosure and would allow the passive radiator to resonate at the correct frequency to achieve the optimal performance. I'm using a relatively accurate digital kitchen scale to measure about 125 grams of washers, including the bolt used to secure them to the back of the passive radiator. I will release build plans for this subwoofer, so go check out my web shop at soundblab.net, link in the description below. The final step is to secure the base with a few screws to the bottom of the enclosure and cover them with a few felt feet to protect floors. This build came out really nice, and as said before, you will see it again in an upcoming video where it will form part of another exciting speaker build. So make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so that you do not miss this upcoming project. Before I continue to do a quick sound demo and comparison of this and the ported subwoofer, and also give some comments in between, let's hear from the sponsor of this video, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes. If you're a creator who wants to explore new skills, deepen some of those existing passions and get lost in creativity, Skillshare is for you. Topics on Skillshare range from animation, creative writing, film and video, fine arts, graphic design, illustration, music, and so much more. Being a trained product designer myself, I remember the days during my studies when we still used markers, pencils, Sharpies and other tools to draw product concept renderings. These days I rely mostly on a computer to do the rendering work for me, but I've lately been trying to sharpen up my drawing skills again. If you want to know how to sketch like an industrial designer, check out this course by design director Julia Troy. It inspired me to get out the old and dried up markers, revitalize them and start sketching again on paper the old school way. There's something very satisfying about being able to do this, so go check out this course and try it for yourself. Classes are curated specifically for learning, meaning there are no ads, and they're always launching new premium classes so you can stay focused and follow wherever your creativity takes you. The first 1,000 people to use the link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare so you can explore your creativity. So go check it out now. I set up the two subwoofers between a stereo pair of speakers. To get the full effect of the subwoofers, your system must be able to play down to 35 Hz, or even better, use a good set of ear or headphones. This demo will switch between the passive radiator sub on the left and the ported sub on the right. So just from this first clip, it's actually quite hard to hear the difference in person. And over YouTube, it will be even harder. In theory, they should perform equally, and right now it seems that it's doing just that. But let's try another clip. Okay, I think that the Passive Radiator sub just edges the ported sub in terms of ultimate clarity of the bass notes. The ported sub does seem to show very slight muddying of some of the notes, and at higher volume levels it also seems some distortion creeps into the clarity of the sound. This is typical of a ported sub, and thus a Passive Radiator sub is generally considered a good midway between sealed subwoofer and a ported subwoofer. I trust you all enjoyed this video. Thanks to all my patrons and YouTube members who make these videos possible. If you want to support SoundBlab and get exclusive updates and content, then please check out the Patreon links in the description or click the join button below. Subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up, and until next time, adios.